Talking about funding, we inevitably then turn to banks. What sort of role does Mashreq play in all of this? You provide financing to contractors, but I'm assuming there's a more holistic picture here that you're involved in.
As far as contractors are concerned, the only way for you to be able to finance a contractor is to think like a contractor and understand how their cash flows operate. Basically, a contractor comes in, builds a project, walks out. And in the process, there is a cash flow that they run, ins and outs. The way we look at it is that we look at every project specifically. Every contract has a life of its own and should not impact or impair the other contracts. So the way we look at financing contractors, besides the bonding, which is a requirement, is to look at their cash flow and try to plug in all those deficits depending on the time that they happen, to be able to facilitate for the contractor the required resources to complete that project.
And one common complaint I frequently hear from contractors is that projects now, there's very little in the way of advance payments and they're cash negative from the very beginning. Is that the case? And if that is the case, what sort of challenge does that create for you as a bank? I'm assuming you come in and have to step into the breach, as it were.
See, the reality is that advance payments were higher. I mean, we've seen on average that the advance payment for projects have been coming down. It is not the norm as yet, but we're seeing indications that it is happening. See, an advance payment is merely a finance for the project. So it's either done by the paymaster or the project owner, or the bank needs to step in. So for a bank to be able to finance contractors, they need to be clear that you need to step in whenever funding is required for that specific project. Less advance payment, more loans to the project. You have the cash flows that will come in, and those cash flows will settle you throughout the life of the project.
And will this increased requirement for financing introduce greater transparency? I'm assuming you're not going to lend to a project unless you really know what you're getting yourself involved. Does that mean you're going to put greater demands on people to be transparent?
I won't use the word demand as much as I would use the word advise. Our customers are customers of choice. We chose those customers. They chose us, and we understand their business. One of the advice, at the beginning of any project, we would really advise that, first of all, is that project critical and within your scope? Can you do it? Okay. Second is there a commitment from the paymaster or the owner, developer of the project to complete that project? Is there financing for that project? So if you handle the performance risk, which is a contractor capable of delivering, and a payment risk, which is a developer capable of paying, everything in between we can resolve.